Action.
Well, good evening, everybody. My name is Jason Bartlett, State Senate candidate. I'm just going to pull the mask down for audio purposes. We'll try to put them on, take them off, try to be as good as we can, but also make sure that we're communicating. So this is our weekly Sunday, end of the week, beginning of the week podcast for 2020 Bartlett for Jason Bartlett's State Senate campaign, and that would be me. And I'm really excited. So been out there. It was obviously a holiday weekend, July 4th. So some folks took some time off, and it was interesting to hear the different opinions and to listen to Frederick Douglass's speech from that was on Facebook. A number of people posted that, and just the different comments in terms of like what's happening in our country and in our world right here in New Haven. I posted this week West Haven, what's kind of going on there, and was very upset that there was a Black Lives Matter protest and a lady drove through the crowd, wasn't arrested. The police brought out police dogs, and I'm really disturbed about that, because it's just like so 60s and 50s, bringing out police dogs. We've had I don't know, over 50 probably different protests, walks, rallies around Black Lives Matter throughout the state of Connecticut, and actually probably throughout the East Coast. I haven't seen a police department bring dogs out. And yet, right here in a town that I'm looking to represent, the police department decided to do that. So I decided to ask Mayor Rossi to suspend those that made that decision and to look into discipline. I see that the New Haven clergy have come behind me and asked for the police chief to be fired. But I think we start with an investigation and really look at that decision making, because it really is a little bit not a little bit, it's a lot off the mark, and I think that people need to be held accountable, so I endorse holding people accountable. But probably what touched my heart this week, and I have a real special guest with me tonight, because somebody almost made me cry yesterday. I was outdoor knocking in the Hill, and I tried to help as many people as I could as youth director, but you don't always know when you touch folk, and it was really nice to, quite by accident, meet Monique Quixley. I met Monique yesterday, and I also met her son, Rashawn Blue, and Rashawn is 14, and he's here with us today. He's going to Wilbur Cross, and your fellow Hill resident. We're down here, by the way. Why don't we show everybody? Can they see the water? We got the water and the boats. So we're down here by Sound School. I got my Biden, whatever. It's not really a, what are those things? Bobblehead. It's not a bobblehead. This is Obama. But I do have some Biden representation. And we also have our donkey tonight. And we have some wine and some candles, and maybe we'll have some strawberries before it's all over. But when I met Monique yesterday, I'm hoping she'll tell the story. I just saw her sitting. I was knocking on some doors across the street, and you're like, okay, there's somebody there. I have to get signatures to get on the ballot. So I need a lot of signatures. I have a petition that I'm carrying, so I'm trying to engage folk and talk about the issues and hear what's on people's minds. And I decided to cross the street, to stop what I was doing and to go visit Monique. And I'd really love it if you just tell what happened next.
Well, when he introduced himself, I already knew who he was. And he introduced himself, and I had to tell him. We spoke verbally 4 years ago about my son, Sean. He was the only kid in all of New Haven to be invited down to an All-American football bowl down in Myrtle Beach. And financially, I couldn't do it on my own. So I reached out to Mr. Bartlett, who didn't know me from Adam, and told him my situation. I asked him if he could help out in any way, and he told me he would love to. And he sure did. He helped me financially get my son down to Myrtle Beach and get him in the competition and everything. And like I said, this was 4 years ago. My son was 10 years old at the time. And he just really started my son's football career out. When he went down there, he got recognized. They said that he has different scouts that's following him ever since then. So you really made a huge difference in my son's life. And I had to let you know that. And it was wonderful that I got a chance to tell you that face to face.
Hey, Rashawn, so what was it like when you went 4 years ago, and what has the journey been for you?
Well, since then, it's just...
Tell everybody, make sure they know you're 14.
I'm 14 years old, and I was 10 at the time. It was just a different competitive atmosphere. We went down there, we played a game, we had practices 2 days, twice a day actually. And it was just a different atmosphere, got to compete with people all around the state. It was a good experience.
So you said you got scouts looking at you?
Yes.
So who have you talked to, and were you allowed to say?
He's not allowed to say.
Okay. Well, that's good. I don't want to get you in trouble. But, you know, it just touched me because, you know, I didn't know you, and we never really met until yesterday, right?
Never met in person. I called you
Right.
at the office, and like I said, I explained to you the situation, and I mean, you didn't even hesitate. You didn't even hesitate. You helped me out immediately, and without that, I could have never made it happen. That's why I really love the fact that I got to meet you face to face yesterday and tell you, you know, the difference that you made, because that was huge.
What you said to me that almost made me cry was, you said, I'm voting for you because I know where your heart is.
Exactly.
And that's what really touched me, because that is my heart, is helping young people like Rashawn live their passion, live their dream, and have that opportunity. That's really, you know, what I have all been about here in New Haven, and before I came to New Haven, is giving young people the opportunity to succeed. And you have a skill set. Now, I'm going to have you stand up, and I'm going to tell everybody, this young man, Rashawn, is 14, 14, everybody, and I hadn't met you till you came downstairs. Your mom dragged you out of the house. So I still had no concept what was, you know, what we're talking about, but once you stand up, I want to stand next to me. Excuse me,
Go
Mom.
ahead.
This is my 14-year-old. When he makes it to the NFL, we got to make sure we have this archived. But he's 14, and he already has the skills, and folks know it. And you're putting in your time and your effort, right? What is like? Do you have a regimen? And you're like, what is your? Because you're thinking about this now, right? So it seems to me that you have to have a plan. Right, so tell folks, what is your plan? What is your dream, and how are you working to get there?
Well, since I was young, my dream was to always play professional NFL football. So since then, I've just been working, doing whatever I have to do, just working hard, working out, lifting weights, just doing anything to make sure that dream can come true. Just anything I have to.
Don't forget about the grades.
Oh yeah, grades is a major part too. No schools will look at you if your grades are horrible. So school is a major part. Staying in the books.
Well, I'm glad you heard Mom on that part, because that's everything, right? So we had to make sure that you're successful academically, so that whatever program, whatever school you actually want to go to, you can go. Like that's the case, because a lot of folks are going to want you, but you shouldn't be limited to what you want to do. You should be you have to think about football, but also beyond, right?
Yes.
And just make sure you have the whole experience and that you're ready for success. And so that's part of like getting the education. And I know that, I don't know, if I was to talk to, I got 2 kids that are grown, and I talked to them at 14. I told them they had to go to college. And, you know, I know you're 14, so you're looking at, but I think because you have, and this is why I wanted to send kids out of New Haven. When you get to see beyond your neighborhood and see beyond your school, it kind of helps you grow that maturity.
Yes.
So that you make better decisions and things that will work for you, because you get to see the whole world versus sometimes just your block or sometimes just your neighborhood. It helps. So let's talk about the food bill.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. BJ's know my face. Sam's Club know my face. I'm shopping. It's 4 of us in my household, and I'm shopping like it's 8 because he just eat me out of a house at home.
Mm-hmm.
And we're a cooking family. We make whole meals.
Well, I'm coming over for Sunday dinner in a couple weeks. I already put in my reservation.
This kid will eat a full course meal, and 10 minutes later he's like, "Mom, I'm starving." So, but yeah, the food bill and the clothing bill, as you can see, he's huge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that got me.
Well, I wanted to say, you know, this is why I'm running, to help people. And I'm hoping that I can do it on a bigger platform, on a newer platform. I really, you know, I think when politicians run, they don't always put the youth up there in terms of the big issues. But I really do think that when we're talking about transformative change, when we're talking about, you know, why we do this, we really need to be looking to do it for young people and to make sure that folks have an opportunity going forward. You know, I talk to folks every day about expulsions, and you know, when I started, there was close to 200 expulsions, so we were kicking kids to the street. And when you expel a kid and you keep them out for 6 months or a year, you're really telling them that their life doesn't matter, that their education doesn't matter, that we as a system have given up on you. You have to stay away. And I'm repulsed by that. And that's why I worked very hard, and I fought the New Haven Board of Education and tried to find allies within the Board of Education so that we could bring expulsions down from 200 to 14 when I left as youth director, to get that number down, to make sure that we never give up on our kids, that we give all kids second chances, and we try to figure out what their passion is. Sometimes it's obvious. For you, you figured it out at 10. You know, the only kid in New Haven to be invited to this All-American football event, and that's real special. And I'm psyched that I could be part of your story. I'm hoping that this turns into, you know, a really big story, and that you succeed and you accomplish what you're setting out to accomplish. And I want you to know, as Jason Bartlett the person, as Jason Bartlett the hope to be senator, whatever, and Mom and I have already been plotting and planning.
Yes.
Because, you know, we're not going to talk about that, but we're plotting and planning to make sure that you succeed. So you just have to do your part and follow through. But I'm here for you. I'm here for Mom. And I'm here for our community. This is, for me, what it's all about, is to plot and plan for our kids, to make sure you're successful, and also that we have some community cohesion, that we get the community behind our youth and behind our folk, and that that everybody's successful, right?
Yes.
So, you guys want to ask me anything?
I would like to ask you something.
Sure.
So, what makes you want to become senator?
This young man right here. It's a new platform. So I was a legislator. I don't know if you know that.
No, I didn't.
I was a legislator out of Danbury, Connecticut. And my landmark bill out of Danbury was raising the age that kids could quit school. I changed it from 16 to 17. I was going for 18. So to me, I was actually, what made me think of this was I was running on a track and I was mentoring this young man, and he told me that his guidance counselor counseled him to quit school at 16 years old. And I was deeply offended by that. And then I kind of understood that I was reading, and education's been kind of my thing. So I was reading and I was like, kids are quitting school at 16. And I just thought the brain is not developed enough for a child to quit. So I did this bill that said, we should have kids have to stay to 18 and not to be able to just walk out and quit. So I did this bill, and they told me that the bill costs too much money to educate kids. And so it was a huge fight. I had to petition the bill out of committee and do all these things, but I finally got it passed, and I compromised to 17. So we're like one of 3 or 4 states in the United States that you can't quit school until you're 17. Most states are 16. So I know the process in Hartford. And then I worked as youth director. And then folks would come to me, food insecure, needing food. We had young people with no beds, sleeping on the floor. So getting kids beds, literally, basic needs. As a city, we never supported our youth, like, individuals like yourself, but also like Pop Warner. When I my first year, Pop Warner went to the Super Bowl, the Pop Warner Super Bowl, whatever it's called. And I said, okay, well, we got to support you. So I tried to give him $10,000, and people lost their minds. Like, the controller, who was a friend, said, you can't do that. People were like, you can't do that because then you have to do it for everybody. I was like, well, yeah, I want to do it for everybody, And so my thing is, I've been to the state. I know how it works. And I've been on the ground here, getting phone calls from moms saying, I need help, or this is happening, or that's happening. I've tried to help with the crime reduction strategy, community policing, working with youth, trying to get youth gang violence down. I've done the hard work on the ground. So I want to take the experience I have as youth director, and now, what I did as state legislator, and go back and have a new platform so I can help thousands of kids have the same opportunity to, I want to say no expulsions, period. We don't give up on kids. Let's figure it out. 2 hours a day because you were bad. No, there's a manifestation of that behavior. Why? Figure it out, and then let's deal with that. So you have to have somebody willing to take on the system. And I just feel like there's everybody's just doing what they do because they get a license plate, or, they have the title of state senator, but they're not willing to do the hard work. They're not willing to upset anybody to make change. And I'm happy to upset people. I've done it my whole life. But it's about making change. That's where I feel good. And that's the place I feel comfortable being in. So that's why I want to go and do that. Take the state rep, the experience with my on the ground experience, and I think that'll make me a better.
Will you still be accessible to the community? Because, our current senator, I never met him, don't know who he is. I mean, you see pictures of him on TV, but that's it. He's not out here in the communities. Will you remain to be in the communities and be accessible, for the common people, that if they need help, they know how to get in touch with you or how to reach out to you?
Yeah, and that's the most common question I've been getting, and it's actually kind of scary because to me it's natural to do. I love knocking on doors and talking to people and being engaged and hearing the story and being able to meet all kinds of folks. So yeah, because it's just part of my DNA. and I love people, and I love to engage, and I like to problem solve. And so I'm going to be that guy, because I feel that I was as a, if you were for kids, then I was for you. And, if you're for about like helping the community, then I'm all about it. And I think that, if you just go in as that is your attitude, I'm more rooted. I'm a blue collar kid. I'm a foster child. I'm a adopted kid. I'm that hard knocks guy. Nothing has come easy to me. And so I'm not easily impressed with a title, or I'm not impressed with Hartford whatsoever, to be honest with you. I'm impressed by the folks that I get to meet here and what they're trying to do. Those are the folks that I want to spend my time with. And so that's why I just know. Now, I do like a glass of wine, and I do like to chill by the water. And, so we're going to do that too. But, we got to have a good time. But yeah, like, I want to be that person. I don't want to, I definitely won't be there 12 years and no one know that I was a senator. That's crazy to me. I want to lose in 2 years. If I can't come back and be in your face, then kick me out. Like, I'm not going to try to stay. That means it wasn't for me. But I know already that I love this, and I love meeting folks, and I like helping people. So people can count on that.
And what about the crime rate? Because there's no secret. I mean, you were on my street yesterday. You know where I live. Mm-hmm. The crime rates, the shootings, the drugs. I mean, we have a field right there, a basketball court, a track that I can't even let my son go to, and have to worry about his safety. I don't want him to go there. It's ridiculous, and it's like the police know what's going on. Mm-hmm. The mayor know what's going on. The mayor made all these promises before he came into office, and he got into office, and what is he doing? Our communities are suffering.
Yeah. So there's definitely been an uptick, a huge uptick, it seems like, in shootings in our city. Like, things are off the chain. And I know that our youth engagement is way down. And so that's not going to be good going forward, because we've now created a vacuum in terms of engagement. So that's very problematic. I think the drug houses, what I'm really concerned about is that what you just said, which is the police actually know which houses are trap houses, which houses are drug, where it's happening, and allowing it to happen. And I think one of the things that really concerns me, because I had a little bit of insight, but not a lot, but that the knowledge is there and they don't really address it. And I think that there needs to be a more honest conversation about that, because if you have the intelligence and you're just letting this fester in the neighborhood, in the community, there's no way that something good is coming out of that. Because, I can tell you right now in the Hill that that one house is mad at another house, and that this is personal. And so, like, the whole neighborhood's right in the middle of somebody's personal beef, and it's over this drug thing. And when we lost a kid, when I first got here, it was a drug thing. So this is a disease, and it's a mental health crisis. It's a health crisis that needs to be addressed, and the mayor needs to step forward, and the community needs to demand it, that the police actually are activated, and also that there's a new approach to policing, and there's a new approach to how to deal with it. They're doing this police accountability bill, as a response to Black Lives Matter. But what they're not doing, they're doing another task force. They're doing another let's study, and my opponent actually said, well, we're studying this, and then he put it in the bill, we're studying it, and we already know what needs to happen. I mean, what is there to study? We know that we should have, in response to things, mental health, and we should have like a social work type of component as a response to actually deal with it. We know that lead as a deterrent exists and all this other kind of stuff, and they're just not doing it. So we have to demand that they do it, and that they actually address, when the neighbors know what's going on, they need to actually respond to the community. And as a senator, I will certainly have a platform at that point to demand that that happens. And I will demand it. And, you know, Eliker, as mayor, he owes me nothing, I owe him nothing but the truth. And I am happy to speak for the community and put that truth out there. And I will do that. And we need to all join forces and work collectively, because that's the only way we're going to make change. Otherwise, they're comfortable with the status quo, and they'll just let it continue to fester.
Yes. We need more things in the community for our youth. We need to really take care of our youth in the community. You know, they need jobs. You know, with good wages. That's not, you know, that what am I trying to say? I don't know the word that I'm trying to use, but you know, they need better wages. They need better things. They need you know, trades. They need different things in the community to get our kids off of these streets, you know?
Well, one of the things that I did that I want to continue to do, so you mentioned trade. So a lot of kids, they wake up all of a sudden. So they don't know they want to be an electrician. They don't know they want to be a carpenter. They don't know. It may be junior year in high school. They may be seniors, and all of a sudden it hits them. I need to figure out what I want to do, or this is what I'd like to do. But they missed, you know, 4 years of technical high school. And so what we need to make available is we need to have these programs available to our young people, regardless of whether they went to a trade school or not. You know, we put all this investment into the trade schools, but then they're not open. You know, they're done at 2 o'clock. Well, you know, from 2 to 4, from 5 to 9 or whatever, we need to have them open always. You know, we have Job Corps in New Haven. We should have a program for after school at Job Corps, you know, so that young people can learn a trade. We need to get our technical teaching back into the high schools. We have the laborers union is actually at Hill House, and they actually do a curriculum at Hill House, something that I fought for. I had to fight the Board of Ed 2 years in a row to get it there. Now it's a recognized statewide program. We need to do all the trades, though. We could do plumbers at Hill House. We could do laborers. We could teach kids how to do blueprints. You know, there's a whole curriculum in terms of understanding a blueprint and, you know, all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's a niche. And we got to make sure that all our young people know what's available and that they have that opportunity. You know, I always wanted to engage University of Bridgeport, because they were on a whole nother track, which is like naturopath and holistic medicine and stuff like that. You know, black and brown kids don't even know that that's an opportunity for them. But chiropractic and, you know, those health sciences and stuff, there's a whole nother thing. We got Sound School that we're sitting on this boardwalk here. You know, they're teaching kids, not enough black and brown kids, not enough New Haven kids, but how to breed fish, and they dive, and they get a sail permit and so on. We don't have enough of our kids. I mean, we have a school here. The kids from Clinton are coming down, and Guilford and Milford, but not our kids having the opportunity to learn that, you know, they can make a lot of money off of the marina and make a lot of money off of the water, and that there's all kinds of things that you just never think of sometimes. So that's a goal of mine, is to open up all these different opportunities and to make sure that we have exposure and good wages for our young people. So that's part of what my work was, but I do want to bring it like in a much bigger way with a bigger platform to actually, and also bring the resources from the state to our community to make some of those things happen.
Taxes. Oh my God. You
Drink up?
Well,
yes, please drink up.
So taxes, you know, I always have to start here. The person that I'm running against voted to bail out Hartford $500 million. Just The state of Connecticut's writing a check, so Hartford's, all their debt is gone, which helps them keep their taxes down. New Haven got 0, and at the same time, in that year, they cut us $9.5 million. So you gave Hartford, which pretty much has the same demographics as New Haven, you gave Hartford $500 million, and you cut us $9.5 million. So you wonder why you have a tax issue in New Haven. So does that make sense as your senator that I'm doing that? I don't think so. If there's, there's number one reason to have an opponent, to hold this gentleman accountable. So that's one consequence. Two is we have to, I think, grow our grand list and figure out how to grow jobs here and grow our grand list. We're on the water. We have the Haven in West Haven, that they had a project there. We have Long Wharf. One of the ways that you control taxes is to grow your grand list so that we're not hitting the homeowner, we're not hitting the person who owns a car. And I think, we could spend a lot of time beating up on Yale. They put in $2.5 million in the budget from Yale, but Yale hasn't agreed to give them that, so, look out for that. But I think that what I could do is enabling legislation to allow its own authority here on the water that has bonding capacity, that can create infrastructure, which gives you jobs. And if we invested $1 billion or $2 billion into Long Wharf here on the water through this authority, then investors are going to come and we'll change the whole front of the city. We'll have transformation. And you can see it in Brooklyn along the water. I don't know if you've been to Brooklyn, but it's completely transformed. Stanford, Harborside, completely transformed. Burlington, Vermont, completely transformed. It's the same, it's this, what they call a TIF, a tax increment financed authority. And that's what I want to have here. And, I want to take something like El Grasso Boulevard, where we have the flea market, and it's just kind of like a lost land, in my opinion. And let's get the state involved and let's turn it into something that we can all be proud of, that grows jobs and so on and so forth. We were paying $1 million per building at where Adult Ed is. Every one of those buildings, we were paying $3 to $4 million a year to rent, when we should have taken the land and built our own, and taken the land and figured out what do we want to do. So these are the kinds of things, Allentown and so on. I want to get the state to help the municipality to actually, create an environment where we can grow our own grand list. We have the property across from the train station, where we took down Church Street South. I mean, they have no idea. Well, I want to be involved as a senator to get economic stimulus, so that we have something that has affordable housing there, but also economic development in terms of jobs that grows our tax base. So these are some of the proposals that I've been putting forward, or that I want to put forward, that I think help everyday New Haveners in terms of jobs and taxes. And I'll beat up on Yale, and I'll be there for that fight. But I think we got to have two tracks. One track is, yes, we have this behemoth university that has a lot of money, and we have to be partners with them and beat them up and, make sure our people are getting jobs and that they're doing their fair share, because they're benefiting off of our city just like we benefit off of them. But also, what else do we have? We have the Boulevard, in West Haven, the Posey Road. There's so much that could be done there. We have this water. There's 6 acres over here that we're doing absolutely nothing with, that we could be, making something phenomenal happen, both in terms of green space, but also in terms of economic development and jobs. So what are we in control of that we can do something with? You know, that's where I'm coming from. Like, what can we do together? So, long answer, but
That's all right. You answered it. I got an answer. Now I have another question. So I told you, like I told you, I know your heart because you did not know us from Adam. You know, when I reached out to you with that phone call and you made a huge difference for my son. So what would you tell the people out there that's questioning the gossip in the communities about that ugly side of Jason Bartlett? Because I know you from dealing with you. I know what you did for us. But what would you tell the people that's going by the gossip? What would you say to them?
So the people that are going by the gossip, I mean, I knocked on somebody's door and they said, "Didn't you get terminated?" I was like, "Yes." And they're like, and what about that? And I'm like, we had a new mayor and he terminated me because, you know, he didn't like the fact that I was close to the old mayor. And, you know, if you want to hold that against me, then, you know, go right ahead. I would not be the first person in Connecticut or New Haven that got terminated because of politics or because somebody doesn't like you. And I really think that folks need to understand that I'm a political person. I came into New Haven through politics. I tried to do the right thing while I'm here. I feel I did do the right thing by my community, by the youth. That was what I was charged to do. But I'm also a political being. And you know what? People are going to slice and dice me because I am involved in politics. And no one has ever charged me. In fact, the city did 3 investigations on me. And they said, Jason didn't commit any crimes, he didn't steal nothing, he didn't do nothing, he didn't help his friends, he didn't benefit himself, he didn't benefit his friends. I mean, this whole clean bill of health. The mayor who ran against the last mayor, Elliker, when he was going against Harp, you know, acted like there was all this stuff. But you know what? It's been 2 years. It's going on, you know, 2 years since they started the rumor mill. And there's been absolutely nothing. Nobody ever came, no official, I've never been investigated. But they used my name out there like I did something. Why? Because I helped people. And they didn't like the fact that, you know, by me helping people, that was helping the last mayor and that our values, you know, were going, so they had to slice us down. And, you know, I was a scapegoat for that. But there's nothing. They got nothing because there is nothing. And so I can live with myself. I know what I've done, and that's helped folks, and that's helped young people, and stood up in front of all that. So, you know, the ugly side is they put me on leave so they could investigate me. Well, they kept investigating and investigating. Mayor Elliker, quite frankly, lied on me and said I did something, and I've already proved twice now and 2, and I'm going to keep going because it's probably going to be a 2-year thing. But I got to show everybody in court and try to, you know, prove by suing him in the city, which is really not what I want to do, that he lied, and he did lie, and he knows he lied. And so far, he's been shown to be a liar, and he's never tried to, you know, he just wanted me out of the way. So just terminate me, but don't lie on me. You know, but he needed something to say, so he's biased in many ways, and that's that. And you know, he's got to live with himself. I've done politics a long time. I've not done dirty. You know, if I'm going to speak about my opponent, this is not going to be a dirty campaign. I don't need to be dirty, you know, but some people play dirty, and they did me dirty, and that's all I can say. And so look at my record, you know. That's why I was touched, because your testimony speaks to how I conducted myself.
Yeah, I was about to say he's a part of your record.
Right. That speaks to where my heart is. That's what I was about, and. You know, it's on me to keep putting out the message of where I am, because there's a lot of folks in town, And so I can't know everybody. But they did me dirty. But I'm still here. And I'm going to go to Hartford. I'm going to make a difference for our community. And that is all behind me.
And you're going to be the voice of our community.
Exactly.
You're going to actually help out the community and stay in the community.
How about you, Rashawn? You want to ask anything? Yeah. So you got your first taste of campaigning. He's got my mask on. Bartlett for State Senate. So we can wrap up now. I just want to say I'm proud of you. Make your mom proud, and you know, even when you get discouraged with school or things happen, just keep in the back of your mind that that's what you gotta like do that part. The sports is important, but they both, if you look at the ones that are really go on to the NFL and have done great, they had both going. And you have this opportunity. You're so young that if you can embrace values inside and just have the right values and really work hard, you're going to be good. So do that. Mom, I'm proud of you. You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
And you're advocating for your kid. And that's all we can do as parents is advocate and just try to do our best. And I just want to say I appreciate you becoming a part of my campaign now, and appreciate, like I said yesterday, it really touched me and it helps. It helps because it's hot out and it's a lot to do. It's overwhelming sometimes. So to get to meet you, yes, just spontaneously, to hear your story, that motivates me to work harder and to keep going. And for folks that have been touched at all, or like anything that I've said tonight, or like the message, who've been thinking about it or heard something about the ugly side and now they get to hear something else, if you go to 2020bartlett.com, 2020bartlett.com, you can sign my petition to make sure that I'm on the ballot. It also helps me obtain financing to actually run this campaign. I'm part of the public financing system. So that petition, you're saying that there should be choice, is important. We have Biden. I like to say now that there's a primary in the fall. Won't be on the August ballot, but we'll have 2 Democrats running for the state Senate. And that's it. There'll only be 2 candidates for the state Senate for the 10th. And so you get to choose among us 2. I think I have ideas that are transformative. We got to talk about one tonight with having a TIF for Long Wharf and the Haven, and some of my other stuff. My producer's telling me to say something. What am I saying?
Your change.org petition.
It's on 2020 Bartlett. So you can go to 2020 Bartlett and sign the petition right there. I thought I said that. Did I say that?
I think you did.
I think I did.
I thought you were talking about your other petition.
No, there's only one petition up there. The
Okay.
2020bartlett.com, there's a petition to get me on the ballot. It says sign the petition right when you go on it. But also, that's where you can go, and there's a platform on social justice and some of my ideas on saying that judges should not just be there for 8 years with no accountability, that prosecutors should not have just immunity. So some of my ideas are there, some of my education stuff is there. So you can kind of get a sense of my platform, and then I hope that you'll sign and help the team get on the ballot and make a difference for our community. So it's Sunday night, and I want to thank everybody and thank Jackson, our producer, thank Monique, and thank Rashawn for coming out tonight. I hope you had a good time.
And thank you for having us.
All right.
Do you want to say a few words about your change.org petition about computers and laptops being required?
So on our Facebook page, you can also sign our change.org petition. Basically, we have 7,000 families without Chromebooks, in New Haven, and probably next time we'll talk a little bit more about education in the state of where we are with Corona and reopening schools. We didn't get into that a lot tonight, but one of the first bill that I'll do, if this isn't addressed, is making sure that the state actually finances and pays for every child to have a Chromebook. You can't have a family with 2, 3, 4 kids and like one kid has a Chromebook and everybody's sharing. Everyone going forward has to have their own Chromebook. That's like your high school. Because distance learning is going to be a part of education going forward. And so we can put this in a school construction bond bill and treat it as if we're about to build a school, because that's what we're doing. We're building infrastructure so that our kids can learn. And we have a lot of obstacles, but this shouldn't be one of them. So we need to take care of that. It's in the Constitution that we guarantee kids in education, and that's my first priority. So, yep, change.org. If you could sign that petition, that'd be great. But number one is sign the petition to get me on the ballot so that I can make this fight. All right, folks, thank you very much, and we'll see you next week.